I think we're live. What's happening? Hey, everybody, just
Hello.
let us know that you can hear us okay, that you can see us okay. I see that Jerry Pendleton is in the house.
I thought you were going to start talking like you were on Romper Room. I see Jerry and I see
Like I'm on what?
Lori. Romper Room.
What's Romper Room?
Oh my God. This is where the age difference makes a difference right here. Romper Room.
Grandma, tell us a story about Romper Room.
Never mind. Never mind.
Yeah, Lori's in the chat and she says she always learns so much with the store review. So we are doing another store review. We just did one a few weeks ago, but I know it's one of your favorite things to do.
Yeah, I love doing the store reviews. I really do. See, Sandra said, oh my God. I'm guaranteeing that's because Sandra knows what Romper Room is.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so we're doing a store review, so we do have a special guest, but we will introduce her in a bit. It is Wednesday, so it's our Boss Up and List live show. What the heck is Boss Up and List?
Boss Up and List is our all-day virtual listing party that we hold in the Boss Facebook group. If you are not in the Boss Facebook group, you should be. There is a link below the show. It is a great Facebook group where we talk all levels of sellers, new sellers, we love newbies, new sellers to seasoned sellers, and we help support one another in this online resale journey in general. But we have a specific post that we put up every Wednesday that Katie puts up as soon as she gets up in the morning. And it's basically our way to challenge each other as co-workers in our goal for the day, whether it's I want to get 10 things listed or I want to get through this pile of junk that I've been avoiding for a month or whatever it may be. It's kind of a way to check in and make yourself accountable and hold yourself accountable for your daily goals or even weekly goals sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. So I hope all you guys are doing that as well. Oh, Kara says Romper Room and Captain Kangaroo were her babysitters. So
mine too, and Mr. Rogers, and I'm a huge Mr. Rogers fan.
I like this one. I just want to go ahead and say, look at this grossness I'm drinking. We went to the gym this morning. She forced me to go to the gym, and her little treat to herself is to get Dunkin' Donuts coffee afterwards. And so I usually don't get it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna see what they have this time because she like orders it on her phone so that she just pulls up and I run in and grab it for her. And I'm like, I'm going to see if they have anything that I could possibly get. And so what I ended up trying out is the cold brew with an espresso shot added to it. And I just got it black because with most places, they always put way too much sugar or way too much cream or both or whatever. And so I just got it black. And then I got home and I added my own creamer into it. And I will say it's acceptable.
That's high praise. That's high praise for the Dunkin'.
I will say
Dunkin'
it's acceptable.
Anyway, I love Dunkin'. Yeah, I love Bozo the Clown too. See, you guys, I was on all those things. I watched all those shows.
The Binkster's in the house. My sister Binky. Apparently, she took a Facebook break.
I didn't notice. I'm sorry, Bink.
Oh, that's why she wasn't around for like the last show or two. Binky, I hope that. Oh, Johnny's in the house too. Cincinnati Hustlers. Binky, I hope that you went and watched. Which show was it? It wasn't the last show. Where we talked it was last Friday. We did talk about our brushes with the law. And I did tell the story, Binky, of you and how you got in trouble. Well, actually you felt guilty and you confessed to stealing candy from dinners and then you were put into forced manual labor.
You're on the chain gang.
Everybody liked it. She's drinking her own ground beans coffee. I can get aboard that.
Anyway. Thanks. My hair's finally growing enough that I can actually put it up. That's all this is.
I think it's super cute right now.
Compliments.
Super cute right now.
So I've been forcing Katie getting back into the routine, getting to the gym. We're trying to go 3 to 4 days a week.
Whoa! I was told 3 days.
Yeah.
Now you're like 3 to 4.
Listen, I've managed to somehow put back on all 30 pounds that I have lost I lost a year and a half ago. This whole being comfortable thing, not okay with me. So
Binky says I'm the worst criminal. Binky, I didn't even get into the story about how in middle school she was brought into a life of crime by another girl whose name also was Katie. And Katie went into the teacher's lounge and stole snacks from there. And my sister, Binky, was the lookout. And apparently she was real bad at it because they got caught. But here's what's even better. I don't know if it was like they were trying to like scare her straight. I just know that she had to like meet with like the juvie a juvie officer
See,
or
that was
something
like,
like
that was like my big arrest at the mall when I was 13 to scare the crap out of me.
I just kind of feel like crime just hasn't worked out for her so well, but yeah, she always gets caught.
So, oh goodness, Allison is still in Kauai. She's still in heaven. I
Apparently she's
hate
never
you
coming
a
home.
little bit. She's never coming home.
Yeah, well, I think she was
go
going
back
for, I
either,
think they were
so.
going for like 3 weeks or something crazy like that.
Oh,
What's
that's
my
a
favorite
long time.
favorite creamer? You know, if I want to really get down and dirty and do it right, I really like just like good half and half. And this is going to sound crazy, but genuine Vermont syrup, maple syrup makes it an amazing coffee. I'm serious. I'm serious.
All right. Well,
but
my favorite creamer is we
use
the
that
same thing.
What's that stuff called? It's like an Italian sweet cream.
Yeah, it's like fake creamer.
That's that Italian sweet cream. It works for me.
I like the sugar-free.
Yeah, Binky said the principal decided they were so horrible they reported it to the police, so she had to meet with a juvie officer, which was pretty funny.
I love to deter your life of crime. They came in and talked to you.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, so should we get into the store review?
We should.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead. I think I've got Cheryl muted here, but Cheryl is wait, is it still showing as muted? Cheryl, can you hear us? How is it still muted? How do I unmute it, guys? What's happening?
Uh-oh.
What's happening?
She was talking a moment ago.
I know, but I muted it. Now it won't let me unmute it. Hold on, guys.
You big jerk.
I know. I thought I was all being smart. All right, hold on. I don't know why it's not letting me unmute. All right, listen up.
Oh wait,
can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can hear you. I had you muted.
The little mute sign was on my picture, so I just clicked it.
Okay, there we go. All right. Cheryl, what is happening? So Cheryl, you are here. You're in Utah, right?
Yep.
Let's see. And did you used to do Poshmark, or do you still do Poshmark?
I still do Poshmark. I have a lot more listings on Poshmark than I do on eBay, just because I just started eBay like a month and a half ago.
Yeah, and how long have you been doing Poshmark?
Since August, however many months that was.
Okay, so you're like you're pretty new to the whole game.
altogether. Okay. I know she's got a real professional looking setup behind her. Do you guys see their photo studio, the super organized tubs of inventory?
Mm-hmm.
I have jealousy right there. She's got some, it's super organized and really nice looking. And she has fantastic hair, as someone noticed in the chat. People like your hair. You have beautiful hair.
Yeah, she does have like a nice flowing mane going there.
She does have beautiful hair. Yeah, your photo setup and everything back there looks so nice.
So Cheryl, sorry, go ahead.
This is a shop in my backyard that used to have my husband's tools and stuff, so I kicked him out, and I redid this a couple weeks ago.
So now it's a she shed.
Yep.
A she shed. Okay, so you've been doing Poshmark. What made you decide to start doing eBay as well?
Well, because I am not making a lot of sales on Poshmark, and I don't know if it's just because I don't have a ton of listings. I think I have, including the things that I've sold, I think I'm up to like 650 on Poshmark, and I don't know. I just wanted to add another element and see if I could make more money that way.
Okay. I see Allison's in the chat saying, tell these two how awesome Poshmark is. Listen, I don't have anything against Poshmark, and I don't think Vicky does either.
I just don't have any time to add another platform. I really don't.
Right. And it's like, so we've talked about this before. I think it definitely is a good idea to have more than one platform that you're working on, but you can only choose so many. And so you just have to figure out which ones are going to work for what you sell and how you operate. And for us, Poshmark isn't really appealing to us. And we're both doing really well with Etsy right now.
Right. I just added Etsy in October, and I'm up to about $2,000 a month in sales on Etsy. So I've already added that to my repertoire. Yeah. And I just don't see, with very little effort, to be quite honest with you, because I'm just cross posting and I'm actually paying Dana to do my cross posting to Etsy. So that for me was,
she's living the good life. She's like, oh yeah, I saw on Etsy. And it's like,
well, it took all this time. I'm finally all caught up. So all of my back stock is on Etsy. I have just under 1,000 listings on Etsy. and all of my stuff that was, you know, already listed on eBay is now up there. Now it's basically, she's just adding my vintage stuff every week. So it's actually at the point where it's easier. I mean, I suppose I could, I hope Dana's not watching this. I suppose I could at my next branch out, teach Dana how to do Poshmark for me.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, Cheryl, so you've been doing eBay for about a month and a half. Before we get into a store review, let's talk about like what are your goals? Because I know when you had said something in the live chat like a week or so ago, you had like some specific goals that you wanted to hit as far as what you're selling or how much you're selling.
Right. Well, my husband's quitting his job. At least I want him to, because he's a truck driver, and I needed something to supplement his income. He's retired, so you know he has his retirement, but I have not worked our whole marriage for 23 years, so I don't know. I just thought that I could do something and contribute, and I want to make over about $1,000 a week, and so I know that's, for me, it sounds like a huge number, just because I'm not anywhere near that.
Well, first of all, I just have to say, I don't know how you've been married for 22 years, because you look about 25 yourself. So, and good for you for your husband. Older than that. Good for you for your husband being able to retire.
So you want to do 1,000 a week. Now, is that gross numbers, or do you want to be able to take home 1,000 a week?
Right, to take home.
Okay. And do you have like any, like, it doesn't sound like it's a super urgent thing. Like, is this something that you need to get this going immediately, or you have time to kind of build it up?
Right, I have a little bit of time. He's a truck driver, and he owns his own truck, so it's not like, you know what I mean? He can drive whenever he wants and stop whenever he wants. It's just he really can't stop until I can supplement that.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay. So you're thinking like the quicker that you can get this going, the more likely it is he'll be able to do that. Allison is over in the chat trying to use my words against me, saying remove all obstacles and that we should do Poshmark. Listen, I don't think that is not even close to what we're talking about, Allison, when we say remove all obstacles. Listen, there's nothing wrong with not trying a platform. And for me, it's just not for me, and I don't have the time for it. But I know that there are plenty of people who do really well on Poshmark and can make a lot of money doing it. It's just not my thing. And I love me some Etsy, and I want to keep building up there. But anyway, so
we had a couple questions.
Yes.
Teresa asked, where is Cheryl located? She is in Utah. And let's just see. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. And so Cheryl, you've been on Poshmark since August. How, like, what, I don't really know what sales are like there. Like, what have you been like averaging there? Like, let's say a month, or where are you at on Poshmark?
It depends really on the week. I am up about 1 to 2 sales a day.
Okay.
That's fairly consistent.
At the end of the week, you know, Thursday and Friday, there's usually more sales, but during the week, it's usually about 1 a day. And so I'm thinking it's because I don't have a ton of listings. And the things that I find here, I mean, we have a Ben's finally. They got a Goodwill Ben's here recently, and I go there, and I think their stuff comes from Washington, because we get a lot of t-shirts that have like Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But and so it's decent. It's not like, you know, going to California or something like that. The Ben's down there. But so the things that I can pick up are not things that I can sell for a high amount.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And Teresa wants to know, what part of Utah are you in?
Northern Valley.
Okay. And then so you just got the bins there. What other places do you have to source? Like, what are the different thrift stores in your area?
Well, we have Sabres. There's a place here called Deseret Industries. We call it DI, but
I love Deserets in Utah. I love them. Are they not good near you?
Well, hard goods, they're okay, depending on which one you go to. But for clothes, they're kind of expensive for the things that they're selling. You know, you can't buy something for $10 and then it's not worth more than 20. You know what I mean? You can't sell it for more than 20 on Poshmark or eBay. So
yeah, I think the DI that we have here is lacking in, I mean, so much of it is just really, really cheap clothing. But I found that when I went and did a big sourcing trip in Utah, I was in love with the DIs in that area, but I only went to the ones around Ogden and Provo, and they were, I went to like 7 or 8 of them, and they had so much stuff and such good prices. But I think like anything else, the thrift stores are always very regional, and they're different everywhere you go, like what they do with pricing and what kind of stuff you have available.
All right, Teresa. Teresa's not going to let this go until she knows. She wants to know what city you're actually in.
Logan.
Okay, so like 7 hours away, she said, from us before we were on. Okay, and then you said there you did have Sabres there. How many Sabres do you have in your area?
Well, we had one in Layton, but that one closed down recently, and so now we just have one in Ogden, and then there are a ton in Salt Lake. So the big outlet is down in Salt Lake, so I go down there every 2 weeks.
Okay. And where? How long is the drive to Salt Lake?
It's about an hour. About an hour.
Oh, that's not bad at all. That's not bad. Okay, perfect. So I think we have kind of an idea of like what you have available to you. I mean, here's the thing is, like, we have a ton of stuff that we're able to thrift right here in our area, but we only go for the most part. I mean, we went on the little extra expedition last night, went to a couple of stores, but usually we just go on Thursdays and we just do one a week. So even if we had to like drive an hour out of our way, it would be totally doable to like drive an hour, spend a whole day thrifting. I mean, if you don't have, I don't know, do you have kids at home with you?
Yeah, we have a lot. We have 8 kids.
Oh my goodness.
And what are the age ranges?
Well, 2 of them are not at home anymore. One's about to leave soon, hopefully. Cross my fingers. 2 of them are still in high school, and then I have 3 little ones that are in elementary school.
Oh my goodness. Well, you have like 3 full-time jobs before you even start selling online. So
I know. So my day is broken up into sections because I can't just
oh my goodness.
That makes a difference. And so the 3 elementary age, how old are they?
They are 5, 8, and 10.
Okay, so all very demanding ages still, for sure.
Yeah. And are they in school? Do you homeschool? Like what?
No, they're definitely in school.
Okay. Are they in school for the full day?
So he'll be 5 actually in a couple of weeks, and so he's in preschool, and he gets out. He goes from 9 to 12, and today I had to pick him up early because I needed to make sure that I was here for the show and stuff. But so 3 days a week, I get my mornings, like a 3-hour block, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
And so with kindergarten, when he starts kindergarten next year, is that going to be an all day or is it half day kindergarten?
No, it's half day. I hate half day kindergarten.
I mean, because I know I had half day kindergarten when I was a kid, but I know now a lot of places do full day. So really for like the next year and a half or so, it's going to be a challenge because you're going to have at best a half a day to be able to just focus on work.
Right.
But that's going to open up a lot in a year and a half. And so, I think that does inform like a lot of like how you get your business set up, because once that changes in a year and a half, I think that's going to make a big difference in what you're able to accomplish, I'm sure. But then there's also the fact that like you do have older kids. Do you ever have them help you at all?
I would like to. They're kind
Slave
of
labor. Slave labor is a good thing. You've got to get some benefit.
At some point, is there any way you could incentivize it where you could get help with like pictures or, I don't know. It's a thought. Okay, so
I'm hoping we
are you still there? You're kind of cutting out.
Yeah, she just. Whoops.
I can hear you.
Okay,
you just broke up a little bit. No big deal. There's something to be said for having older children and having the ability to, like Katie said, maybe incentivize them with helping you with photos or helping you prep items, steam items, anything like that, and like make it part of their chores, or maybe help them earn a surprise or a treat or something like that. Bribery always worked for me. I'm not sure it's the best parenting tool, but
or even pay them, but you could pay them at a fraction of what you would pay somebody else to actually do it.
Of
like
course.
You could pay them for taking pictures, but do it at a very small rate, but they could at least be making some money. I don't know. So that's a thought in the future too. All right, do you want to get into the story?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to share the screen here. So We can look at what you've got going on.
And I think Teresa's right. Well, you'd be surprised what they can do. Even the 5-year-old can help. The little ones are real good at things like cleaning, cleaning shoes and polishing shoes and pairing them together and things like that. That's really good if you're reselling shoes, because that's something nobody likes to do, but little kids get that done. Like I always had to do chores and things like that when I was little. So.
Yep. All right, so let's look at, so here's your store. I like to actually look at it from this other view. So we can see you have 179 items for sale. So you've just been listing for a month and a half now, is what you said?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I mean, that's pretty consistent. 179 items in like 6 weeks is some pretty solid time you've been putting in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And getting a story view this early on and getting some tips really early on before you've even had an opportunity to like, you know, get set into any habits or make any big mistakes is huge. So, I mean, give yourself some credit right there. There are a lot of people that do this full time and have a difficulty getting 20 items up a week. Yeah. So, for sure. You know, I think that you deserve to give yourself a little bit of credit there.
Yeah, and usually like when we do these store reviews, I like to figure out the sell-through rate, but honestly, it's not really going to make a difference at this point because you haven't been selling for 3 months, so you can't really come up with any like real numbers from just a month and a half. But you've had 14 sales in your first month and a half selling on eBay. I actually think that's pretty good. So you've already gotten a good start. You have great pictures. It looks like you're selling a lot of jeans. So that's going well for you.
Some good ones though, Silver and Rock Revival and, you know, vintage. It's got some vintage Adidas right there. Those are great. Those are great.
So one of the things I would say, you know, I don't think feedback is the end all be all that some people think it is. But with that said, I do think it's helpful when you're very first starting out to get yourself above 10 feedback as soon as possible, just because some buyers are a little wary when they see somebody who has a super low number of feedback. And when you hit 10, that's the first threshold you have to hit to get your first star. So you're super close. You're at 8, which I'm just going to say this right now, 14 sales, getting 8 feedback. I don't even know what happened, but
you're above the norm.
But what I would suggest, Cheryl, is that you over the next couple of weeks, don't buy anything extra, but if there's anything that you need, like any household stuff or anything that you need that you can buy on eBay, go ahead and buy it on eBay, because the quickest way to get feedback is to get it from sellers.
Because most sellers, especially larger sellers, are going to have their feedback set up to be given automatically. So anytime you make a purchase, they're going to give you your feedback automatically. So, I mean, honestly, let's just get into this. I mean, first of all, your photos are great. You know, part of that I think is because you have the experience with Poshmark. Oh, I see what you're talking about with that dress. So actually, I don't think that's a bad photo.
It's not a bad photo, but there you do have a few pictures where, like with this dress, and I think you had some jeans like this as well. It's not that it's a bad photo. It's that when you're doing that front and back picture and you're using it as your main photo, it really makes it so you can't see much. You can't see as much of like detail.
I think because that dress actually has such a strange shape that she needed to do that.
And that's fine.
I'm not hating on that.
No. And you've got that for some of your jeans. So I don't know if these are old pictures, because your newer pictures or these pictures look okay. So you're not doing that anymore.
So your flat lay pictures for the jeans are awesome.
Yes, they look great.
Your white background and your black background.
This is what I like to see on the main picture. Is like a zoomed in photo that fills up the whole screen. So this is like perfect.
You have beautiful items too. I mean, especially your women's clothing. I don't know if you're selling your own stuff or you're finding the stuff in the bins, but you have some really, really pretty pieces.
No, mainly coming from the bins.
Yeah, well, that's pretty good. Then our bins are crappy here, so that's pretty good that you've been able to find such good things. Your titles are good. So many people have issues. Two big things people have issues with are titles and photographs. And you clearly have the photograph thing down. Like 95% of your photos are excellent. And your titles, you're using all the words, you're using really good keywords. Keywords are the easiest way, or the hardest way, but also the easiest way to build a title, trying to find all of the right words to put in a title that are going to draw people into your listing, and you're doing really well.
Yeah, for sure.
You're pulling all the right words. So I mean, some people, you either have this innate ability to do this or you don't, and I can already tell by looking at your stuff that you have the skill set that you need to do it.
Absolutely, because coming right out of the gate and already having like a whole bunch of things going in your favor, it just shows that, you know, once you have a little more time and experience to this, you're going to be in an awesome position to really hit your goals that you want to hit. I would say I'm looking at like a lot of the stuff you have, you know, from anywhere from $25. Here's the jacket for $70. And then I see this t-shirt kind of pop out. It's $12.98 or best offer. And I would say one of the things moving forward, I know you said it's hard to find things that are like for higher value, but you got to think about like what do you want to spend your time on? So something like a t-shirt like this, it's one thing if you have multiple quantities at these low prices, but when you have something where it's a one-off, you got to take pictures of it, you got to list it, and then once it sells, you got to ship it. Are you making enough money when you sell it for $12.98 or best offer? Are you making enough money on that one item to make it worth it?
Because your shipping is going to be at least $4.
Mm-hmm.
So someone offers you, $10, you accept $10, your shipping's $4.
You got fees
and PayPal. Then you're looking at a net of like under $4.
Mm-hmm.
So something like that, I would, Teresa, just put it in the thing. I would price that shirt at $19.99 or $19.95 and $98, however you want to end your items.
Well, that's a question I had. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Just because I'm not super good at looking up comps and stuff like that. And so when I looked up that shirt, they weren't selling for very much, and so I priced it where everybody else was pricing their stuff, and so I should price it higher, right?
Yes.
I think yes, to a degree. I'm not saying you need to price it 2 or 3 times what everyone else is getting for something, but perceived value is a real thing.
Yes.
So when you price something the lowest on the lowest end of the block, and you have lower feedback, and your store hasn't been around a long time, all of those things make someone skip to a higher priced listing.
Yeah. And for something that low, like what Teresa said, you can just go ahead and remove best offer from it, because I mean, you really don't want to sell it for any lower than that. I have a question for you though, because you said you're not so good like as far as comps. Where did you buy this shirt at the bins?
No, my kid, somebody was with me when I was sourcing, and they picked it up, and I didn't really look it up when I was there, because I'm just like, whatever. It's M&M. I don't listen to M&M. But I just got it without looking it up, and so
I probably would have grabbed it too, actually.
Yeah.
And not known that it was worth. I probably would have grabbed it too. But like Teresa said, looking it up, I would have probably priced it around $20 and taken best offer off of it. But that being said, I mean, we can nitpick every single listing, but that in general, you want to make sure that you're pricing your things when you're looking up comps. You don't have to be the lowest person on the block. Mm-hmm. And the thing about selling clothing, and especially pre-owned clothing, there's always going to be somebody that's going to sell stuff too cheaply because they're trying to flip it really fast.
Yeah. And
while that is one way to do things, I think pricing yourself somewhere in the middle or toward the higher end is okay. If you have good items, good photos, good everything.
Well, we're going to get into policies, but that's the thing. You know, Allison was giving me a hard time over in the chat, but that's what when I talk about like remove all obstacles. If your listing is the best in every way, and you have better policies, you ship worldwide, which I see that you do. When you have a better listing and you take returns, I think some of your stuff you even have free returns. Even if you're higher priced than somebody else, I mean, that's the one area where my stuff's not competitively priced, but because of my policies, people are more likely to buy from me. Just like, you know, a woman looking to buy, let's say, this tunic dress, she's more likely to want to buy it from you for $30 than buy one maybe for $20 that's all wrinkly and
right. Because that I keep looking at that photo.
Returns.
That photo is fantastic on that dress.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, like Jerry says in the background, you really should have a white background or a black background for Google Photos. For Google search, white and black both work.
But she seems to have that for most.
Yeah, she does. So. But he said, I wanted to correct it. He said white background for Google friendly. Yes, it's white or black. That reality is it needs to be a solid color.
Yes.
That's what is most important for it to come up in Google. But yeah.
For sure. Okay, so let's get to the policy. So I see you are doing, you have returns. So I don't have any, I mean, I don't know what some of your stuff has free returns, some of it just has regular returns. But to me, as long as you're doing returns at all, that's important because a lot of sellers don't. So you're totally doing well on that. International shipping, are you using the global shipping program?
So I don't understand that at all. And I watched some of your videos about that, but it just, I don't get it.
So you are using global shipping, or are you doing it yourself directly?
I've never shipped anything out of the country, so I've never had any experience with it. I just click the worldwide shipping on my listing, and I don't know what that means.
And then you'll wing it once you sell something. Okay.
So we'll see what happens when you do sell something. But so when you do your listings, do they all have your accurate weights in them?
Right. I weigh it as soon as I pack it.
Okay. So I guess we'll see what.
Okay.
So, but right there, the fact that you have your stuff available to international sales, that's great. And really, I mean, you don't have anything that's like, since you're doing all clothing, it's not like you have anything that's crazy heavy that all of a sudden you're going to be like, what do I do? Shipping this internationally. So you're good. It'll come up and
easy,
and you'll figure it out, and then you'll realize like, oh, it's easier than I thought it was going to be. So,
Probably.
all right, what do you want to go into the next thing?
Yeah. So okay. So I've seen that some of your items have a flat shipping cost, like you put $5 or $7 or $4 on the item, and then some things are showing that they're calculated. Tell me how you're figuring out your shipping.
I think the ones that are calculated are probably my first listings, and I didn't even know that that was on there, and so I have to go in there and edit that. But so and correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't really know what I'm doing. If I know that I can't sell something for very much, like $18 right there, and then if I have to pay shipping on top of that, so for those items, I would usually put, the buyer would pay a portion of the shipping, I would pay the other portion.
That's one way to do it. That's what I'm looking at, like where you have the 4 or the 5 or the 7. So if you're putting that in as, I mean, that's definitely one way to do it, where you can, that it's going to cost you like $6 or $7 to ship it, and you put 5. That means that it looks low to the buyer, but you're paying the difference instead of offering completely free shipping. That's absolutely one way to do it.
But the bottom line is there's no such thing as free shipping, as a lot of people say. And so it's not that you're going to lose that money. It's just that like these jeans, for example, you have them for $24.98 and it's $5 shipping. That's not unreasonable at all to charge $5 shipping. But if you wanted to, eBay does like free shipping. And so what that means, anytime eBay says they like something, you can guarantee that it's affecting you and your placement in the search. And so it's just one of many things that are going to contribute to where your items show up in the search. And so what you would do is, if you wanted to change this to free shipping, you would just make it $29.98 with free shipping. So you're charging the exact same amount. You're just showing up as free shipping. If somebody checks the box for free shipping, then your listing's going to show up, where as it is right now, it won't. So you're not losing any money. You're just building it into the cost of your item. And so with stuff like this one is one that I'm pretty sure you have calculated shipping on, and because of the background, I'm guessing this is one of your older ones.
Yeah.
But you can see the problem is this looks like it's probably a first class item that probably weighs 14, 15, 16 ounces. And so what they're doing is they're charging retail rates, which retail is $9.45. Whereas when you're getting your discount, I think it tops out at like, no, it tops out at like $5.45 or something like that. And so what you're doing is you're way overcharging your potential buyer, and they're going to look at that and be like, why am I paying $10 to ship a sweater to me? And so this would be another one where if you just added in $6 to your price, so made this $24 in free shipping, it would be more attractive.
Or even $29.95 in free shipping.
Yeah.
But probably 25, because that is a Walmart brand. But either way, you'd want to put it at, so it looks like it's free shipping. Here's the thing. I don't think that everybody needs to always offer free shipping. It's okay to do what you're doing, but you should choose to do one way or the other, so that so that your stuff is kind of like set a certain way. For one thing. It's consistent. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. The other thing that I have to say is that you are choosing to sell in the categories that are the most saturated on eBay. So used clothing, especially women's clothing, are the highest saturated categories. And it's difficult to get sales in those categories to begin with. Not impossible, clearly, because I do it. Lots of other people do it. But you want to be able to have all of the best advantages in order to make sure that your item sells over someone else's, because it's so saturated.
Right.
So if you want to try to increase the amount of listings that you sell. So an average eBay seller in the clothing category is going to sell maybe 8 to 10% as far as like their monthly sell-through rate. So if you have 8 to 10% of your items are selling and you only have 200 items, that means you're going to sell, you know, maximum around 20 items a month. So you want to be on the higher end of that sell-through rate. And in order to get to that higher sell-through rate, you want to have all of the best things available on your store and on your item. So in this case, when you're selling mostly clothing, I want to encourage you to try the free shipping, adding the item, adding the price of shipping, or adding that $5, that $4, or whatever it is that you're willing to do. Add that on top of your cost and absorb the shipping, because that's going to give you the most benefit over the next seller that is selling the same thing.
It's just a little bump up. And the whole idea of the whole remove all obstacles is that, let's say there's 10 different factors that each have a little bit of an impact on where you show up in the search, how likely it is that a buyer is going to see you. If you do almost every single one of those 10 items or 10 things on the checklist, it's going to make it that much more likely that yours will sell over everybody else's. So that's where best practices come into mind. So for me, I'm never price competitive. That's the one place, you know, when eBay will say, you know, one of the things they look at is that you're priced competitively. Well, I'm not. And so that's the one thing where I'm like, I'm not going to fall in line with that. But in every other possible way, I'm going to make it as easy as possible that my stuff is seen and chosen by a potential buyer. And so to me, free shipping, if you can do it, makes a lot of sense. Do you have any questions so far?
Nope.
Okay. I mean, I think you've had 14 sales in the month and a half that you've been doing this, and you only have 180 active items. I mean, can you imagine, like, let's say we put you up to 10,000 listings, not 10,000, sorry. That's crazy. 1,000 listings, sorry, 10 times.
Like 10,000.
I know, 10 times, you know, whatever. But if you were suddenly 1,000 listings right now, I think you probably would be doing pretty well. So this is all just kind of like hopefully we're helping you kind of create a really solid foundation to grow your business from where you're at right now, because it really does seem like you're on the right path.
Right. I mean, you have a mannequin, you have mannequins, you have good lighting, clearly. You have you're taking good photos. You know how to build a title. On your newer items, which I can tell by your background and things like that. Your titles are excellent.
Your belt pictures are rad.
Yeah,
I think
the belt and
awesome.
The belt pictures and the shoe pictures are fantastic. You know, I think you've got it. You're dialed into the process. And I think eBay in general is easier than Posh because you don't have to do all the sharing and stuff like that. But Posh, for more trendy clothing, I think the items tend to sell faster if you put the work in. So that's just the impression I'm getting from people that are on Posh. You know, I'm not on Posh. So let me see. How often are you listing right now? Do you list every day or every other day? Or
soft screen share?
I list every day. So I'm trying to come up with like a consistent schedule for the process, you know. So I try to list every day. Yesterday I got 17. That was a good day. That's
awesome. Yeah.
Very good. Well, I mean, in an average week, like how many days do you usually end up listing?
5 out of 7.
Okay, so you're
good.
So
you're consistent.
And the fact that you have 180 listings already, that shows that you are consistent. And so honestly, that is going to have the biggest impact. And you've only been doing this, I mean, when you include Poshmark, for really only a handful of months. When you started with Poshmark, did you have any frame of reference for brands or what sells or anything like that starting out?
Nothing. I am not a fashion person. I buy buckle jeans and I wear t-shirts.
Yeah, so I'm the same way. So when I started out, I didn't know anything about anything when it came to clothes. So you're only a few months into this.
I'm not a fashionista either. So I mean, I know what to sell for other people, but for me, I haven't purchased anything above like Target or you know, JCPenney or something like that personally in a long time.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, like I started out not knowing anything about brands. So you're only a few months into it. I really think that considering that you have the discipline to do the listing, which a lot of people struggle with. That's why we do this Wednesday show and why we do the whole listing party on Wednesday. And in our Facebook group, we do daily listing challenges. Vicki and I, we don't really have a problem when it comes to discipline to get our stuff listed. And that's a lot of why we are able
we need to discipline
numbers.
Ourselves to actually get out of the house and do things that are not work related, because that's how much we work. But
as far as the things that you need in order to drive sales, we're good at that. And we have the discipline to make sure that we're getting those listings up that need to be up. And so if you're already starting out and you already have that drive and you're doing it, and honestly, like over time, you are just naturally going to learn like what sells, what doesn't, what's better. And you're probably going to find, I bet there's tons of places that you can get stuff in Salt Lake City where you're going to be able to get lots of really amazing stuff, and you're going to be able to start building your average sale price and get better return on your investment. It's just going to happen.
At some of your stuff, and like 70% of your stuff would be stuff that I would have listed too. So I think that you've got some more common names there that maybe you're not going to get a good ROI on, but that's okay. If you picked them up at the bins, if you got them cheap enough, then whatever, just sell them. Part of learning this business is it's what we call you paying your dues, right? So you're paying a few dollars for an item that maybe you're not going to sell for much, or it's kind of, you know, it's the cost of the education.
Yep.
I can't even tell you when I first started, before there was Facebook and YouTube and, you know, groups or online, there was very little things you could even do research for online in the first place, how much money and how many thousands and thousands of dollars I spent wasted, you know, because I just bought shit that didn't sell. It wasn't worth anything. And I did it over and over and over again.
Two questions.
Okay.
First, I want to know if anybody else, any other reseller, like the only things in my closet that I feel are above like the t-shirt standard is just reseller cast-offs is what I like to call them. Like if you're trying to list it and, oh, there's a flaw, okay, I guess I'll keep that. Those are the only things that I have in my closet, and I'm just wondering if anybody else has that too.
Oh, I do that for sure. I buy stuff that I like, and then half the time I'll come home and I'll be like, oh, that's not going to really work well. But I'll buy stuff that I like now that I know I'm going to sell again at the end of the season. I'll do that too. So I buy it and I'm like, oh, I'll wear this for a couple months, then I'll sell it. So I do it both ways. Like for myself, I hardly ever pay retail for anything anymore. And I think once you get into this business, you find it real hard to pay retail or to shop at a mall or to shop at a department store and not just look out in the wild or look on eBay for something.
Right. What was your other question?
So I found a bunch of hard goods at DI a couple weeks ago, and I was super excited about it. And I was totally thinking about Vicki, but I was wondering if you would look at it and tell me if it's worth it. They're like really old games.
Let's see them. You got them right now?
You got them near? Yeah.
Let's do like a little mini haul. You know how Vicki likes her games.
I do.
Oh, wow.
Whoa, you really did. You got a lot of games.
All right.
These are just a few of them. There are even more. I mean, I don't even remember some of these games. Can you see that? Oh, is it backwards?
Yeah, it's not backwards. I've never seen that one. Yeah, have you been able to find anything? Well, did you look up comps and things like that?
I haven't even done that yet, but it's still in the wrapper. Like the wrap.
So the good thing about board games is that they're real easy to look for comps. And if they're complete and they're in good shape or they're still wrapped, go for the higher end of the pricing on them. I love board games because you usually get them for like $1 or $2. It's like $1.99, $2.99.
These were $3.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, you might as well try it out. And you know, like I said, you know, you're gonna learn what sells and what doesn't sell. And if you can get stuff crazy cheap, then why not? At least when you're starting out, because you're gonna find.
Don't be a dork. I like that one.
But you're gonna find that you're just gonna learn it. Oh. And you know, having the bins are great for that, for learning. Ooh.
Oh, there's some good ones.
That's really cool.
This is a really old. It's like 70s or something.
Yeah, are they all new in their packaging? I'm seeing plastic, so.
Yeah, they're all wrapped.
That's awesome. Yes, list them.
What is that?
Yeah, those definitely look vintage. And they look like they're kind of more obscure, so they might have been more of a they're not like Parker Brothers or Milton Bradley, right? So they look like they're a little bit more obscure. So definitely do some comps on those, and then because those are all new, your price yours at the high end of the comps for sure.
Just play around with it. And here's the thing: I know when I started selling everything. I sold hard goods. Actually, clothing was the only thing I didn't sell. And you'll just find that over time, you'll organically gravitate towards the things that you enjoy selling, or things that you like to look for and you like to list, and what's available in your area. And like I said, you're near Salt Lake City. I'm sure there's tons of places to source there. And it's going to happen. Now, like we were saying about clothing, yes, clothing's super, super saturated. But over time, you're going to start to find like, what stuff goes for higher prices. And really, that's comes down to, if you're not finding designer stuff, it's going to be vintage. Right. Vintage is where the prices are going to come from.
Vintage is where I make most, I'm about 50% clothing. And, I do find some designer pieces here and there, or some higher end pieces here and there. But for the most part, my money, the clothing that I sell is my bread and butter stuff, right? So $25, $35, $45. And then I have, a little bit higher than that is going to be the more designer stuff, the more desirable stuff that I've paid a little bit more for in most cases. So that's my bread and butter. But the majority of my money, and at least 50% of my sales, are hard goods. And that's where the ROI is huge. So for me, finding that mix is what elevated my store. I've never sold just clothing because it would bore the crap out of me. I can't do just clothing, but some people manage to do it.
See, I do only clothing and I love it, but I'm doing a very specific niche market of men's, mostly vintage, a lot of streetwear. And because I have fun with it, I enjoy it. And so it works for me, but it's because over time, I stopped buying the stuff that could only sell for maybe 10, 15 bucks. And I started seeking out stuff that sells for a lot more, and kind of learning a lot about like vintage t-shirts and stuff like that. But I'm telling you, like, she's killing me right now with sales, because she's got all these amazing electronics and different things that she's into. I'm not into it. And so I'm not going to be, it does take a little bit, probably more work for me to find those key pieces. Whereas she can walk into just about any store and come out with a cartload of stuff, because she's got that knowledge and she's got much more variety.
It just takes time. It just takes time to build. I've said before a few times that, I never been sold clothing at all up to 6 years ago. I moved here 6 years ago, and I was always selling antiques, collectibles, and vintage items. Occasionally I'd sell vintage clothing, but I mean real vintage, like 50s and 40s and earlier. So I hated clothing. I had never been in a thrift store, and I didn't know how to thrift clothing and shoes. So those are the types of things that I never sold until I moved here. And when I moved here, I realized that I couldn't do antiques and collectibles anymore, at least not exclusively, because they just don't exist in Nevada. It's too new of a state, and people are too transient, and they come here, and we don't have grandmas having yard sales every weekend with every single thing in their driveway being 100 years or older, like in New England. It just doesn't happen. So I had to change my entire mindset and change my entire business. So I had to learn clothing just like anyone else. So I bought crap that wasn't worth anything. I bought, Target and Walmart brand, thinking, oh, this is cute, it should sell. No. So it took me a lot of time, and I had never been to a bins. So I spent even more because I didn't go to the bins. So I think that part of learning this business is having the dedication and the mindset to be continually listing, which seems like you already have that part down. Your photographs and your titles are good. You have a good eye for picking things that are nice. You don't have an ugly thing in your store. You don't have anything that looks like dingy, dirty, crappy, and lots of people do. So I
see horrible listings all the time. And then I'll go and look at the seller and see that they have like 5,000 feedback. And I'm like, they've been doing this for years. And this is what their listings look like.
Yeah. And I don't know how, which means, in most cases you can throw it up and something will sell, but
but are they really making a good living at it?
Right.
Probably not.
So you've got all the tools already. It's just a matter of building the store to having more listings, because it's all a numbers game. The more you have listed, the more you're going to sell. That's really it. Lots of people talk about sell-through rate being a very important thing when you're it does depend on what you're selling, but when you're selling used clothing or clothing in general, having an 8 to 10% sell-through rate is pretty average and pretty normal.
Yeah.
You're not going to have a 50, 60, 80% sell-through rate. And if you do, it's because you're taking a huge loss and you're just flipping stuff in 99-cent auctions or whatever. It's real hard to have that type of sell-through rate. And, you know, part of it is just, you just need to build up the inventory.
Yep.
That's the biggest part of it.
All right. So what would we say are actionable tips going forward that Cheryl could take? I mean, basically, my whole thing would be just like what you said, like just keep listing consistently. So I guess you're already doing an amazing job at figuring out how to balance having kids at home, particularly a 5-year-old or almost 5-year-old home.
She is showered. She has perfectly nice, she has beautiful hair. You know, I had one child, and from the time she was a baby until she was about 3, it was questionable whether I had clean underwear on.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you do it with 8 children, but you're already way ahead of the curve. So.
Yeah. So I would, you know, listing consistently, which you're already doing, build up your store, make those little changes that we talked about with like your shipping if you can. But just keep moving forward and keep learning and pay attention to like what sells, what doesn't sell, and constantly be adjusting. And I think that what you'll see, because, you know, when I started out, I relatively quickly made the switch to clothing. And I remember like once I got past like 250 listings, that's when I started to see more consistent sales on eBay. And then it was like when I hit like the 800 to 1,000 listings, that was about the tipping point for me to make a full-time income just on eBay. Because I was consistently listing all the way up to that point. I think that's about
right. I think that whenever I hear a lot of people, and again, a full-time income is different to everybody, but what you're looking to achieve is not insurmountable by any stretch. So I think it's once you get up to consistently having 1,000 listings,
I think this is a very doable goal for you.
Yeah, I think within a year you should, if not less. I think you'll be able to get there. It really, really is a numbers game. It's just a matter of having X number of listings listed, and you're going to sell a percentage of those listings, and you're going to have an average sale price. And once you figure out what that formula is based on your own items, then you just have to keep hitting it.
And then about a year and a half from now, you're going to have all your kids in school all day long, every day. And that's going to like just change everything probably for your business.
And right now, do you have just that's going to be so good. Do you basically have do you have a basic store right now?
I think I do. It's the second one. So it's like with the year subscription, it's $21.90 something.
Yeah, that's a basic store.
Yep, that's the basic store, which is fine. And once you get up to about 350 to 375 listings, that's when you're going to want to bump up to the next level of store, because that's where it's going to, that'll be about your break-even point, so that you don't want to pay more per listing than it will cost you for the subscription, because that allows you 1,000 listings a month. But you're not quite there yet, so you're fine. And you're right where you need to be, as Teresa said. So you're in the right place. And the only real actionable tips that we had for you is to get in there while you have a low amount of listings now and figure out your shipping. Figure out how you want to handle that, whether you want to do the free shipping or add it on. But calculated shipping on clothing is going to probably not work the best, because it's going to show too high for people across the country. If you've got something 1 to 2 pounds, like even a pair of jeans, if somebody in New York is looking at that listing, it's going to show them $10 and change for shipping. And when you know that you can put it into a flat rate mailer for $7.55, right? So,
are you using flat rate mailers?
I am. So right now, and I think those listings are just old, and I haven't gone in there and fixed it. So because right now when I create a listing, especially for jeans, I always do it because Katie said to ship it in a padded flat rate envelope. Perfect. And so I keep all my jeans in padded flat rate envelopes, and so or anything that is over a pound, right, that can fit in there.
A jacket, a sweater, a sweatshirt, anything like that. Perfect.
And so I'll try to fit it in there first and make sure that it fits, and then I'll ship it that way. So I guess I just need to go in and fix all of those things. But so I just should list anything that I have, like hard goods or clothes or anything, all in the same store. It doesn't matter, right?
Oh yeah, don't worry about, you don't need more than one store, because here's the thing. People go on eBay and they search for an item. They're not searching for a store. You're not selling a specialty of any kind. So every single thing that I sell is all in one store. The only thing I have in a separate store is I have some X-rated stuff that I keep separate. I know. But anyway, so I keep that in a separate store for obvious reasons. I don't want it to mingle in with my, my old lady collectibles. That's not something, not that you can find it as easily, because that you do need to be in a certain category to see that stuff. But
some people are saying in the chat, you should go into your store and set up categories if you haven't done that already. Because if somebody does go and shop in your store, you can have it set up by categories, and it'll make it easier for them to look around if they want to.
Yeah, it's definitely, you're at the point now where you can start everything perfectly, because you don't have too many listings where it's insurmountable. So, business policies are something you should look into. I don't want to confuse you with that right now, but business policies are something you should try to set up now. Store categories and adjust your shipping and figure out how you want to do the shipping.
Mm-hmm. But otherwise, like, you are on such a good path already. Like, I mean, I just hope that hopefully this review is just letting you know, like, hey, you're doing a really good job already. So just keep moving forward, and you're going to see those numbers come in. Do you have any other questions for us, Cheryl, before you wrap this up?
I don't think so. I think I'm good. Thank you.
How are you feeling about it?
Good. I'm feeling really good. I really want to get up to over the 250 mark. So I'm going to be pushing it really hard the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, and I think I love that you already are really good and disciplined at listing regularly, because I'm telling you, when you start to hit those higher inventory numbers, you're going to start to see those regular sales. It's a lot easier to stay motivated as those sales are coming in.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I don't know. I mean, you could probably, we don't have to do it right now, but you should set up some goals for yourself, because here we are, we're in March right now. And everybody knows that fourth quarter is when you really start to see some crazy numbers as far as sales go. So, if you're a goal-oriented person, you might want to set some goals of like, hey, I want to reach a certain number of inventory by this month or by that month. And then like October 1st is kind of like when fourth quarter really kicks off. And so I don't know, I think you could probably hit 1,000 listings in your store by the 1st of October, personally, based on how quickly she's been going right now. What do you think?
No, I think that's doable. I think that's really doable.
So maybe like set some goals for yourself, like month by month, and just be like, figure out where you need to hit each month in order to do that. So that next fourth quarter, you can like kind of appreciate the spoils.
I mean, she's done quite a bit. So I think if you could do, set a goal of doing 200 listings a month. And if you fall short of 1 month, that happens.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, 200 listings a month would work. And Kara, I'm not going to talk about how I approach listing X-rated items.
We're not getting into it.
No, I just had a lot of stuff that I've had left over from a previous bulk buy, and I list it in my other store. So it's not. No, I'm not going to talk about X-rated items. First of all, on YouTube, we wouldn't be able to monetize that show. But it's just stuff that I keep separate that from, it's vintage magazines and things like that. Yeah. Magazines and books.
All right, we're going to wrap this up, but real quick, Teresa wants to know, Cheryl, are you thinking about going to Open at all? Might be a little early.
Already purchased my ticket for Open. I still need to reserve.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say, because my husband told me not to buy a ticket for him. He's not into the whole selling thing, but I have a space in my truck if anybody wants to carpool.
Okay, cool.
Awesome.
Well, I think it's awesome that you're coming to Open, because I'm telling you, you're going to go and at that point, you're going to have way more listings in your store. And I'm telling you, going to Open is going to energize you in a way that you never thought possible.
I think going to Open when you're a brand new seller is the absolute best. It should be mandatory for new sellers to go to Open, just because the amount of knowledge and energy and just all around like pat on the back that you're going to get is huge.
Yeah, and then you're going to like be able to jump into really prepping for fourth quarter like right after that. So that's awesome. We're excited to get to see you face to face. You get to meet all your stranger friends. It's going to be great.
I'm a little nervous.
Don't be
Teresa,
nervous.
T-Money, Teresa just said, OMG, I so want to meet Cheryl in July. So you already got people who are ready to meet you, Cheryl.
You already have stranger friends, as we call it. Oh, and Kara Cooper, no open this year for you. I'm so sorry.
No.
No Roberta Gardner, no Kara.
Well, we
No
better wrap it
Brenda.
up. We're at noon right now. We got some stuff we got to do. But Cheryl, thank you so much for being willing to let us check out your store, to coming on live here. I know that can be a little scary to have everybody looking at your stuff. But
And
we
if
really
you have
appreciate it.
follow-up questions, feel free to post them in the boss group and tag us, or
Well, I don't know,
send us messages.
Cheryl,
Or...
I don't think you're in the boss group. What's up with that?
I don't think that I am. I was just thinking I need to join that.
Because I went to look for you in the group, and I'm like, she's not even in here, but she's on Facebook. So Cheryl, you should definitely join the
Well,
group.
she's my Facebook friend now, so
There you go.
she's stuck with me anyway.
You should join the group, and you could even use like Wednesdays, the Boss Up and List Day is like your day to set weekly goals or whatever if you want to. But you should definitely join the group. And but yeah, thank you to everybody else for coming and hanging out in the show. And hopefully you've all set your goals for the day, maybe the week. Yeah. Anything else you want to say?
It's been a lot of fun. Like, I love doing the store reviews because I think that even though I feel like Katie's like, I feel like we say the same thing to every person. We kind of do, but every store is a little bit different. Everybody has different goals. Everybody has different things they're looking to sell. So, I hope if we just give you, a couple of little things to tweak and change that are going to help you increase your sales. I think it's kind of I think it's fun. I like doing the new store reviews because I like seeing somebody where they are in the process.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to go back and look at your store in 6 months and see how much you've improved.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, everybody out there. And we will see you, I guess, on Friday.
Yep.
For No Pants Friday. But thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.